Good evening, one and all. This is our live broadcast from Spanish Fork, Utah, 7 o'clock Saturday night, Mountain Daylight Time. It is our online substitute for the physical program that we have every Saturday night in Salt Lake City. Everything is inspired by the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Om Agana Timaranda Syang Gana Gana Salakya Chaksurun Meritam Yena Tajmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Karamayam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Siyata Parakamanam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagudutam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Stam Sajevam Sadvaitam Sapadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiveshakan Vitam Scha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutare Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sanyavadi Praskita Desadharine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Good evening, one and all. Our talk tonight is entitled, I'll step back so you can see the slide. You read that okay? It's wounded soldiers. We all face things in life that wound us, injure us, try to push us down. And it's easy to lose our passion and start thinking that I just don't have what it takes. I'm useless. I might have had it once, but I no longer have anything valuable to contribute. But our message tonight is that Krishna did not create you to be overcome. He created you as an overcomer, a victor, and He's put something in your spirit we call bounce back power. Bounce back power means that you can be injured and you can be wounded, but still be in the game. Bounce back means that when you get knocked down, quite frankly, quite simply, just don't stay down. There's a force breathing in your direction, making things happen that you couldn't make happen on your own, giving you a strength that even you didn't know that you had, causes you to rise up out of the hurt, to rise up out of the injury. And because you have bounced back, that challenge, that critic, that enemy, that difficulty cannot, in the end, defeat you. May hold you back temporarily, but it's just a matter of time before you rise back up. You may have things coming against you now, thoughts that tell you you'll never get well, this pandemic has ruined your finances, you'll always struggle with this addiction. Our encouragement is not to believe those lies, because that's what they are. You may be down, but that's not where you're meant to stay. That's not your final destination. Krishna is saying, get ready. Get ready for favor. Get ready to rise. Get ready for breakthroughs. Get ready for healing. What was originally meant for your harm, Krishna is going to turn it around to your advantage. If you're going to get out of that challenge, you have to think like a devotee of the Lord thinks. This problem did not come to stay. It came to pass. Krishna being for me is more than the whole world being against me. I will arise again. And when you speak like that, the forces of darkness tremble. When you declare, I shall arise, the angels go to work. No more out of your mouth, it's never going to change. My business is never going to make it. My child will never get back on course. Zip that up. If you talk defeat in your life, guess what? You're going to invite defeat. You're going to have defeat. Instead of that, say, with the same amount of energy, I've had difficulties. I'm not denying the problem. I'm not sticking my head in the sand and pretending it doesn't exist. But I am saying that I'm not staying here. I'm going to arise. I'm going to see the goodness of Lord Krishna. My future days will be better than my latter days. Krishna has not brought you this far to leave you. He wouldn't let you get into a problem that He couldn't get you out of. That person who walked out on you, they didn't stop your destiny. Quit giving them that much power, thinking that they ruined your life. Krishna has someone better in line for you. Another devotee said, Krishna lifted me out of the pit and he set my feet on a rock. You may right now be in the pandemic pit, so to speak. You don't see how you or any of us, for that matter, are going to be able to get out. But the good news is that you don't have to get out by yourself. The Most High God is about to lift you out. He brought it. It's not a surprise to him. And he also has the means for us to come out of this better, stronger, more creative, with more joy and more peace. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He's about to free you from that addiction. He's about to turn the medical report around. He's about to open new doors, bring new opportunities, new relationships. The pit is not your destiny. You are destined to rise out of the pit. Nothing you face can keep you from your purpose. No pandemic, no sickness, no addiction. The enemy, Maya, she's done her best, but her best will never be good enough. I heard about, in a hurricane, the different kinds of trees that get blown. Oak trees, pine trees. Some of the oak trees are 3 or 4 inches thick. Some of the pine trees are 100, 150 feet tall. And yet after a hurricane, you'll find them yard after yard, street after street, block after block, big trees, small trees. None of them were able to withstand the 100-plus mile-an-hour hurricane winds. But there is one type of tree, and I'm sure you've intimated which one it is, that doesn't get blown down. It's the palm tree. It's because Krishna designed the palm tree to withstand the storm. Unlike most other trees, the palm is able to bend, so it doesn't break. And there's a certain type of palm tree that can bend all the way to where the top is touching the ground. And during a hurricane, it may stay that way for 3 to 4 hours, all bent over. Looks like it's done. That's all she wrote. But when the wind dies down, the storm is over, that palm tree pops right back to where it was before. All the other trees, unable to bounce back, they're lying willy-nilly on the ground. What's the difference? The bounce back factor. That makes the difference. The palm tree has it. Gets pushed over, but it's only temporary. We need to be like the palm tree. Go through difficulties, go through losses, go through disappointments, but at some point realizing the winds are not going to go on forever. At some point, the winds are going to stop. The storms are going to pass, and when that happens, like the palm tree, going to come right back up again. You may be bent over right now, facing challenges. Thoughts are telling you there's no end in sight. It's never going to work out. Get ready to rise. You do have bounce back power. When the storm is over, you're not going to be lying down. You're not going to be defeated. You're not going to be broken or beat up. You're going to rise up, healthy, blessed, prosperous. You're not even going to show the wear and tear of the storm. You're going to be restored, refreshed. Nobody is going to even be able to tell that you went through that difficulty in the first place. And what I love about Krishna is he doesn't just bring you through the storm. He makes the enemy pay for bringing the trouble. When that storm, when that palm tree has bent over during the hurricane, you would think superficially that the tree is being damaged and it's being weakened. But research shows just the opposite. When the tree is being pushed over and stretched by the winds, that is strengthening the root system and giving it new opportunities for growth. The roots are getting a harder, more firm grip on the earth, and they're sinking down further, more deeply during the course of the hurricane. So when the palm tree straightens back up after the storm, it's not just as it was before, but it's actually stronger than it was before. And when you come out of that storm, when you straighten back up, you're not going to be the same. You're going to be stronger, you're going to be healthier, better off, and ready for new growth. When you're in difficult times, you need to remind yourself, I may bend, but I'm not going to break. Krishna won't let me face anything that's going to break me. That's too much for me to handle. There may be things coming against me, but I know this fact that down is not my destiny. Defeat is not how my story ends. Sickness, trouble, lack, not having enough, that it's going to pass. It's not permanent. Sometimes, when we've been in a storm for so long, we've forgotten what it's like to be standing up. The enemy would love to convince us to settle for being bent over, living in dysfunction, bitter over who hurt us, thinking that we'll never be happy again. But at that point, we need to say, yes, I acknowledge that I've had some bad breaks. Yes, life has thrown me some curves, but I'm not giving up my dreams. I'm not settling for average, for mediocre. I'm going to stick around to see what Krishna is up to. I know he's going to make things right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Stand your ground and don't get talked out of your dreams. Don't let the delays, the unfair childhood, the unexpected storm convince you that you've seen your best days. Krishna is up to something. What looks like a setback is just part of his plan. You may not have seen the difficulty, but he wouldn't have allowed it if it was going to keep you from your destiny. It was not a surprise to Krishna. If you'll have this faith, Krishna is going to make things right in your life. Restore what the enemy tried to steal. Pay you back for the wrongs. Open doors that you couldn't open on your own. Get you to your destiny. Trudy Rosenfeld left England in good spirits, looking forward to landing in sunny San Jose, California, after an all-day flight. Little did Miss Rosenfeld know that her travel agent had made a computer error in booking her flight. The travel agent had accidentally put the 70-year-old woman on a flight to San Jose, Costa Rica. Mrs. Rosenfeld fell asleep on the plane, blissfully unaware that she was headed for the wrong destination. When she never arrived at the California airport, her cousin, Alan, who was supposed to pick her up, alerted the airline, and they quickly discovered the problem. The airline sent a representative to meet Mrs. Rosenthal's plane. Imagine her surprise when she was greeted at her destination with the words, "Ma'am, you think you're in California, but actually you are in Costa Rica." And the airline arranged to fly her back to California and meet her cousin a few days later. Headed for California, arriving in Costa Rica. Well, that doesn't really seem like such a bad exchange. You could do a lot worse. But it does seem like a reflection of how life works out for many of us. Headed for living happily ever after, arriving in divorce court. Headed for a much-deserved retirement as a couple, sitting beside a grave as the minister reads the funeral verses for your life's partner. Headed for a life of wonderful opportunities as a young person, flat on your back in a hospital bed with nurses, searching for a vein to receive an IV. Headed for California, arriving in Costa Rica. In those times, it's good to recall the words of another devotee. We know that in all things, Krishna works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vedaham samatitani. Krishna has everything all figured out. He knows what you're going to need, when you're going to need it, who's going to need to be there. You don't have to go around all stressed out and worried. Krishna's got it all lined up. He's going to get you to your destiny. People can't stop you. Bad breaks can't stop you. Injustice can't stop you. Why? Because Krishna is ordering your steps. He's in control not only of your life, but he's also in control of the lives of your enemies, and he's in control of all the circumstances that surround you. In January 1958, Roy Campanella's baseball career was cut short after a car crash left him quadriplegic. The unthinkable had happened to him. This is the point at which so many people would give up on God, give up on life. But not Campanella. After he was injured, he spent a lot of time in the Institute of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation in New York City. One day he stopped to read a gold plaque on one of the walls. The plaque resonated deeply with his belief in God. This is what it said. I asked God for strength that I might achieve. I was made weak that I might learn to humbly obey. I asked for health that I might do great things. I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty so I could be wise. I asked for power so that I could have the praise of others. I was given weakness that I might feel the need for God. I asked for all things that I might enjoy life. I was given life that I might enjoy all things. In response to these words, Roy Campanella wrote, I got nothing I asked for, but I received everything that I could have possibly hoped for. Roy Campanella inspired far more people off the field than he ever could have done on the field. And this is a mistake that many of us often make. We think that it is the perfect athlete who makes the best spokesman for God, the glamorous actor, the polished speaker, the successful businessman. And because of this misconception, people want to be just like them. We reason that they can represent God better than we can down where we are. And this leads us to thinking that our witness is somehow or other inferior because we're not athletic, we're not glamorous, we're not polished or successful. I'm here tonight to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. The best witness for Krishna is authentic living in the face of daunting adversity. It's when we allow Krishna to lead us through the tough times. And in all things, we give Krishna praise. Then people will see the power of Krishna made manifest through difficulties, through tough times, through dark valleys. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Honestly, if you knew what Krishna has in store for you, you wouldn't be discouraged after that accident. You wouldn't be discouraged after that job that didn't work out, after that person who walked away, that loan that didn't go through. Because what Krishna has in your future is so amazing that you'll never even complain about or even think about your past. You may be down now, but get ready to rise. Krishna is about to do something unusual, something uncommon that will catapult you to a new level. Your story does not end with the things and people that you've lost. It doesn't end with the dream that didn't work out. It doesn't end with a relationship that didn't make it, with a business loan that didn't go through. Don't go around bitter because someone threw you in a pit, someone betrayed you, someone cheated on you in a business deal, a dream didn't work out. Krishna saw it. He wouldn't have let that bad break happen if it was going to keep you from your destiny. Now, how many of us are longing to go back to where we were before we were favored, before the setback, before the health issue, before the pandemic? Here's the key. Stepping back does not mean that you don't have favor. It means the opposite, that greater favor is coming. You had to lose that past in order to step into the awesome future that Krishna has in store. You haven't seen or heard or imagined where Krishna is taking you. She lost her job in the agency 3 years ago. This tough economy made it difficult for her to find another one. She's managed to make ends meet waiting tables. She often cries herself to sleep at night thinking 3 years ago she had a corner office. Now she has a store back from cleaning tables. She doesn't know how much longer she can take it. They were happily married for 20 years, or so he thought. He came home one day and she was gone. There was a note on the kitchen table that read, "I don't want to be married to you anymore." Took his breath away. He can't wrap his mind around it. He hasn't slept in weeks. She loved where she used to live. Lots of friends and a great school. But Daddy needed to find work elsewhere. So they moved away. Different school, different neighborhood, different culture. They make fun of her accent at school. She can't find anyone to sit with at lunch. So she eats her lunch alone on a hard bench outside. She hides her tears as people walk by. Like those 3 examples, you may also feel that you're in a pit. It's okay. Our encouragement is that the pit is leading you to the palace. You had a setback, it's okay. It's setting you up for greater honor, greater influence, greater authority. Don't sit around lamenting the past. Get ready for the greater things that Krishna is about to do. When war casualty figures are announced, the list usually includes both the dead and the wounded. Why? Because for all practical purposes, an injury is almost as useful to the enemy as a fatality. There isn't any place in war for the wounded. They have nothing more to offer. They've been reduced from possibility to impotency. A wounded soldier no longer has a contribution to make. What he once had to offer is no longer helpful or useful. The enemy rejoices equally over the dead as well as the wounded. The wounded soldier may be unhappy or full of despair, not so much for his own hurt as over the fact that he no longer has a contribution to make. Imagine the utter devastation of soul and spirit when one feels one is useless, when one feels one's sidelined, when one's gone as far as one can go in one's life. However, in Krishna's economy, the wounded are potentially more valuable than the healthy. Krishna is looking for the wounded to serve his cause of love. He raises up the wounded to be blessed, to be favored, to be restored. You may be in a tough time, but stick in there and see what Krishna is up to. Keep believing, keep praying, keep dreaming. Your time is coming. The pit is only temporary. The depression, the sickness, the lack is not how your story ends. Listen here now to what the great Black American educator Booker T. Washington said about the advantages of disadvantages. He says here, without wounded soldiers, the history of mankind would be much different from what it is today. But in love's service, those who themselves have known so vividly the pain and anguish of inner frustration, fear, bitterness, and the blackness of life's warfare often prove themselves the best soldiers in the ministry of compassion and understanding. And by the same token, some of the most beautiful and exquisite literature, music, drama, and poetry have been written by those who deeply felt the wounds of life. Elizabeth Barrett Browning was a semi-invalid. Robert Louis Stevenson lived with the pain of tuberculosis. Beethoven, despite his deafness, heard heavenly music, which he translated for the mortal realm. It is enough to say, quote, he was a wounded soldier in life's service. In love's service, only the wounded can serve. Would you agree that our spiritual master, the founder of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, had the advantage of disadvantages? Coming to the United States of America in 1965, at 7 years old, in ill health, no money, no friends, spent his first year basically without any fixed residence, without any income or disciples. We can learn from his story that Krishna is always working behind the scenes. We're closer than we think. It's going to happen sooner than it looks. Krishna is going to surprise you. Just keep him first place and trust him. That's the way Krishna works. Many times you don't see anything happening. And then suddenly things fall into place. Suddenly your health turns around. Suddenly you meet the right person. Suddenly you start that temple. Suddenly that mission gets off the ground. But what's our job in the meantime when it seems like nothing's happening? Constantly think of the Lord. Believe in him. Trust that he has a way where you don't see a way. And when you let Krishna arise on the inside, you make him bigger than your problems. You make him bigger than that sickness, bigger than that financial trouble. You focus on his greatness. You think about his power. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 58th verse, Krishna says to Arjuna, if you become conscious of me, You will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes this, for one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes his most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend who is so devotedly working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. How do we know a devotee? A devotee talks about how Krishna's brought him through in the past. A devotee goes around bragging publicly on what Krishna's done. A devotee is always declaring Krishna's promises. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The bigger you make Krishna, the smaller your problems become. The bigger you make Krishna, the more faith will rise in your heart. But the enemy is trying to get us to let the problems arise. Maybe your child is off course. And then it's easy to talk about how he's not making good decisions, how he's never going to reach his destiny. I don't know what I did wrong as a parent. What are you doing? You're letting the wrong thing arise. Turn it around and start letting Krishna arise. Lord Krishna, thank you with my family, like with the Pandavas and the Yadus. My children will carry on devotional service generation after generation. Thank you that my seed, the seed of the righteous, is blessed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What are you doing? That's letting Krishna arise. That's what causes things to change. When you speak defeat, you bring defeat on the scene. But when you speak victory, you bring Krishna on the scene. He created the universe. He flung the stars into space. There's nothing that Krishna can't do. Maybe you're struggling in your finances. Business is slow. You've been laid off from work. Now you can either let that defeat arise, whereby you feel discouraged, worried, or you can let Krishna arise. Hare Krishna. In the 11th chapter, 36th verse, Arjuna says, O Krishna, master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightfully done. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes, Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and object of worship for the devotees and the destroyer of all undesirables. When Krishna arises, favor comes, new doors open, things that you couldn't make happen. And now the question is, are you letting Krishna arise, or are you letting your problems arise? All through the day. It's important to keep a song of praise in your heart. Instead of worrying, thinking about all the things that are wrong, what might not work out, in your thoughts, think, Krishna, thank you. There's nothing that you cannot do. There's not a mountain you can't move. You're a waymaker, a promise keeper, a miracle worker. Take that same time that you normally worry and turn it into worship. That's not just being positive. That's letting Krishna arise. That's what allows the most powerful force in the universe to go to work on your behalf. Well, Caru, this all sounds good, but I don't think I'm going to rise back up. I don't think I'm going to bounce back up. I made a lot of mistakes. Nobody did it to me. Nobody did me wrong. I made all the bad choices. I brought all the trouble on myself. Well, here's a word of encouragement from Krishna in the 30th verse, 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. And Prabhupada writes, if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so much stronger that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Now, if you'll arise, there's a crown of favor with your name on it. Those mistakes you made did not cancel your destiny. Quit listening to the accusing voice, reminding you of everything you've ever done wrong. Krishna has already forgiven you. Now you need to forgive yourself and move on. It's time to arise. Someone said a good person falls 7 times, but they rise again 7 times. Get your fire back. Get your passion back. Nothing you've done is too much for the mercy of Krishna. He knew every mistake that we would ever make. He's already taken into account all the wrong turns. He has a plan even for the times that we missed it. Now arise and go get what belongs to you. You can still become who you were created to be. When the winds blow in your life, when the storms come, remember this phrase, there's bounce back in your spirit. You may bend, but you're not going to break. Like the palm tree, you're going to come right back up. All through the day, let Krishna arise. In your thoughts, keep thanking him for his promises. Make him bigger than what you're facing. If you do this, you're going to see promotion. You're going to see vindications, breakthroughs. Krishna is going to make things happen that you didn't see coming. You may have lost some things in the past, but when you arise, it's going to be so much better. You won't even think about the past anymore. If you'll arise, there's a crown of favor with your name on it. Sure, there were good old days, but the coming days are going to be much better. Once we were children, and it was good to be a child. And yet when we grew up, we put away childish things, childish thoughts, childish patterns of behavior. It was good to be a child, but it's much better to grow, to mature, become strong, convicted, honest, and purposeful. Krishna loves us too much to leave us as children. He sends the storms and hurricanes of life so we can put down deep roots, engage as wounded warriors for love, and learn to use the advantage of disadvantage for uplifting others and taking new ground for his kingdom. In the coming days, you are going to be more full of joy, more peace, more meaning, more direction, more conviction, and more purpose than anything you've ever seen so far in this life. And in the next life, Krishna is going to take you back to home, back to God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Yogi and Pragna, Anjali, and so many others for spending this time with us. Appreciate it. Tomorrow evening at 5:15, we'll be back with another talk. And before that, we have the Krishna Light Show at 1 o'clock. And for those members of our congregation, we also have a Zoom call at 11 o'clock too. Thank you once again. And with me, if you don't mind, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.